Today, I'm going to show you how to execute your career pivot like a professional saleswoman. The women that get multiple job offers are absolutely doing it like this. The ones with offers for dream jobs or even speaking opportunities and advisory positions, they're not lucky. They're doing something differently. Here's the truth. If you run your job search the right way, you will come out of it not just with an offer. You will level up as a human and a professional. You will change the trajectory of your career, of your entire life. There is so much growth and opportunity to be unlocked in this process. But here's the catch. If you don't do it right and embrace it for what it is, a sales process of you as a professional, you'll stall, you'll end up in the wrong place again, or you'll burn out in the search process. And if you do it right and you track it and approach it strategically, you will build undeniable momentum and set things up to work out in your favor. Most women I work with who feel stalled in their career pivot aren't stuck because there's a lack of opportunities out there. They're stuck because they're not tracking their actions in a way that facilitates momentum, progress, and growth. Now today, I'm going to show you how to organize your pivot like a professional saleswoman so you can stay energized, confident, and in motion no matter how overwhelming the job search process feels right now. When I shut down my tech startup after almost 4 years of building and hustling, I was exhausted. Burnout doesn't even begin to describe how I was feeling when the pandemic hit. So from March 2020 to July 2020, I basically blacked out as I tried to figure out what to do with my company and with my career. And I had no idea what would come next for me, but I knew I needed to start to make some money fast. I don't know if you've ever run a tech startup from the ground up, but you don't pay yourself for a while. So the first job I landed came easily because I had been talking to that company about acquiring what was left of mine. So they offered me a customer success enablement position that had never existed before because I was too tired to do any kind of sales at that point. So I did this role for a bit. I caught my breath. I really enjoyed it. And then I decided that I wanted something else. I was still in my 20s. I was craving growth. I wanted to keep leveling up as a human. And suddenly, I was offered an opportunity to help another tech startup build, and it felt very familiar to be building at the pre-seed stage again. But then that one wasn't quite right either. Now at this point, a couple moves into my search for career alignment, I realized that I had to stop taking whatever was easy and convenient and start approaching the whole thing more strategically if I wanted to land a dream opportunity. So that's when I decided to treat my next job change like a sales pipeline. I stopped relying on luck, chance, or whatever just comes my way, and I started playing hardball the way I knew I could. I began tracking everything. My dream companies, the roles I liked the look of, the ones I had applied to, my open opportunities, the conversations I was having, my interviews, my follow-ups, all of it. And then, instead of drowning in overthinking and wondering what might happen next, I could literally see my progress on my laptop every single day. And I began to step into my role as the designer of my career. That visibility gave me energy and intentional progress. I started to feel like the creator I knew I could be. And here's the key. Momentum generates energy. Once I could see progress, I stopped waiting around for things to happen and I started taking aligned action every single day. And every career move I made from there resulted in multiple offers, despite my windy, scattered, confusing, non-linear journey. Now, this is a system that I teach my clients, and today I'm going to break it down for you. So step one in this process is to think like a professional saleswoman, okay? Salespeople don't rely on luck ever. They know their numbers. They track every lead, every call, every touch point because they know that consistency compounds. And if they ever miss their quota, their boss is going to immediately ask to see their numbers, their inputs, their activities. To land intentional, aligned career opportunities, you need to build a pipeline. And when you treat it like a pipeline, you'll feel powerful with real influence in this process. Step two is a bit of a mindset plus action shift. So focus on inputs over outcomes. One of the people I've been paying attention to lately is Layla Hormozi of acquisition.com. So in her video on YouTube, How to Achieve Anything, she makes a really important point: to stop obsessing over outcomes that you can't control and start tracking and celebrating the inputs that you can. This is the real key to, honestly, a life of success and results. Think about it. You can't control whether a recruiter replies. You can't control how long a company's hiring process takes. You can't even control if someone decides to ghost you. to after a great conversation. What you can control are the actions that you take. How many conversations are you starting each week? How many applications or outreach messages are you sending? How many times are you showing up, sharing your story and your motivations with someone? How many follow-ups are you sending? When you track inputs, you build the habits that inevitably lead to the outcomes. And here's the magic. Once you start hitting your input goals consistently, the opportunities start to feel inevitable. Because they are. Step 3 in this process is very tactical. Set up your career pivot tracker. So I recommend setting up a simple Google Sheet with a few key tabs. So if this feels too overwhelming, start with one tab, okay? Dream companies. What companies are you paying attention to? Maybe you like their mission, their leadership, their company size, their stage, their work flexibility, their Glassdoor reviews. In the modern world, anyone can find at least 5 to 10 companies that could be aligned with their path. The next tab would be open roles and potential opportunities. So put in the company name, the role title, maybe a link to where you found the job and any next steps. If you just applied, that might involve waiting a little bit until you try to follow up. And then another tab for contacts. Who you've reached out to, how you met, what your last touch point was, when do you want to follow up with them again if you don't hear back. And finally, a conversations and interviews tab. So relevant meeting notes, your energy score, did this conversation light you up or drain you, and follow-up actions. If you are truly trying to transform your career, none of this is busy work. This is your control panel. When you open it up, you see proof of your own progress and momentum, even on days when it feels like nothing is happening. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone through this process and a couple weeks in, I realized that I forgot about a great conversation or I forgot about a follow-up. And my spreadsheet was my reminder to send an additional touch point to keep my profile top of mind. When I was guiding my husband through this process a few years ago, it took him almost 2 months from the first conversation with his future boss to get to signing his job offer. This process takes time. Now, step 4 in this process is to celebrate the journey while you are in it. This is where most women sabotage themselves. They only celebrate when the big outcome lands. But sustainable momentum and enjoying the journey comes from celebrating inputs and small wins. So if you sent 3 messages today, celebrate that. If you had a coffee chat that gave you some clarity, celebrate it. If you published a thought leadership post, even though you were nervous, amazing. Do you know how many times I've posted on LinkedIn over the last 2 years that got maybe a couple likes? Now, instead of getting discouraged, I remind myself that failure is actually the work of champions. Every action compounds, every outreach, every conversation, every post, every tiny step is energy that builds clarity and opportunity. And when you track it, you can actually see how far you've come. Celebrating the steps keeps you motivated instead of discouraged. Now, if you're listening to this and thinking this sounds amazing, but I know I'm not going to stay consistent with this on my own, that's exactly where I can come in. I help motivated women like you stay on track with accountability, clarity, and momentum in your process. So book a free clarity chat with me. I'll walk you through building your own opportunity tracker and show you how to run your pivot like the high-achieving woman you already are. So the truth is, every step you take in this process is bigger than it feels in the moment. A single message, a single follow-up, a single line on your tracker, these are the bricks that build the foundation for your next career chapter. You get to be the designer. And here's the part I want you to hold on to. When you commit to tracking your inputs and celebrating your progress, you're no longer waiting for the right opportunity to find you. You're creating it. Momentum beats perfection every time. Consistency compounds. The women who align their energy, their systems, and their story don't just land dream opportunities, they step into a whole new level of fulfillment and authority for their career. So keep going. Trust that your effort is stacking up. The version of you who's thriving in her meant-to-be career is closer than you think. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe on YouTube so you can catch the rest of the Career Clarity Blueprint series. Each step builds on the last, and you don't want to miss it. And if you know that you'd like support staying consistent and building your own career opportunity pipeline, I'm happy to help. I never let my professional sales skills go to waste. Book a free clarity call with me. The link is below. Currently, I offer 4-week and 12-week coaching packages. I would love to walk you through this process and help you design a career you love. I'll see you in the next episode.